I mean, where and when did these memos surface? Now, these aides got to be freaking out. These aides of Comey's, they have to be freaking out. Remember, they were given these memos, yes? So look, when we see media scrambling for a few days, coming up with nothing, there's something happening. It reminds me of Obama's birth certificate, okay? And it reminds me of so many times when we couldn't get straight answers under Obama. They're figuring out what they can do. Now, if you think I'm being silly, just look at Hillary, okay? She wasn't hiding anything. Missing emails by the triple and quadruple plus digits, and a server that was illegal and didn't meet national security requirements. I mean, really? And she walked. It was wrong. Of course, she was sorry. And you think that the FBI, the ones who couldn't nail Hillary to the wall on any one of those things I just listed, you think they're going to out themselves? No, they're not. Okay? And so let's look at what Comey said about this. You know, the guy with the memos, he wrote to himself, and he gave it to aides. Why would Comey give paper to aides? Think and listen. So, why would he give the paper to aides? Going back further, as we recall, and this really blows my mind after what we saw with Hillbabe and her email and servers and whatnot. Going back to when Comey said that government had sufficient privacy protections, that there were things in place to protect individuals and the government. Okay, San Bernardino terror attack happened, and we had the request to Apple. And we went over this last week, okay? And I quote, Jim would like a backdoor available to American law enforcement in all devices globally. And frankly, I think, on balance, that actually harms American safety and security, even though it might make Jim's job a bit easier in some specific circumstances. Whoa. Okay. So then, think about that one. Then fast forward. Now it was 2017 when he, Comey, the memo king, was quoted as saying the opposite. There is no such thing as absolute privacy in America. There is no place outside of judicial reach. None. He doesn't say there might be. He says there's no place outside of judicial reach. So we talked about this last week too. Everything is secure and safe, right? Yet Hillary had unsecure and unsafe data on computer hard drives and emails. And then, everything is within judicial reach? Okay, then why was Hillary not nailed by Comey and the DOJ? Because that's another really great question, right? Are you dizzy? Because I'm going to tell you, I watch this stuff all day long, and I'm telling you, it's the spin and the flip-flop is just disturbing. I think we had a little blip in the show a little bit earlier. Hopefully we're kind of back on track. I'm going to have an archive of the show for later. If you missed anything, you can go back and listen to it. But I'm going to go ahead. This is Erin Cruz with the Queen of Politics on Second City Radio, California. And we are live. Hopefully everything is up and running again. And we're talking about Comey and the memos and Donald Trump. Okay? And we're kind of going through the background on this and what we talked about last week versus now. I'm going to get back into this. So when dealing with Comey, you have to remember, this guy is a pro. Not only is he the ex-director of the FBI, his background goes deep. I know you maybe have heard about deep state recently, but yeah. His background goes pretty deep, but he's a smart guy. He's a pro. He's one of the best, obviously. Now, he knows that if the documents were paper, he just has to buy a few aids and he's squeaky clean. If it's electronic, then where's the trail? Now, I'm going to tell you, people write on their computer and they print. And I'm going to almost guess, okay? Now, I am not a forensic, computer forensic type person, but I'm going to tell you that everything that's done on those computers, my guess, has a click record, okay? Every time they type, they probably keep track of that. Every letter, when they hit print, every print, okay? Now, if he wrote it by hand and then now says he's old school all of a sudden, we have some deep, serious issues, folks. So we really got to get to the bottom of this. And then the aids and the human interaction in between. So if it's electronic, then where's the trail? And then now a few more questions. Did Comey follow process? And if so, where is the trail to prove it? If not, he needs to be dealt with. I mean, some of the things the media is going on and on and on and on and on about are really not relevant. They're just to confuse you and get you drug in and your mind kind of wrapped around in places it shouldn't be. I mean, because really, the dinger of it all, and it's going to be like ding, 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 ding. This guy, all right, and the Democrats, I want to remind you of something. Who is on trial here? No one. Really? Trump wasn't under investigation. Flynn kind of was. They were wanting to look at some things, and they kind of were about Trump. But, I mean, then why all of this? Okay, why stir this massive pot? I'm going to tell you a few reasons why I think. Democrats see they're losing power, and it doesn't matter what side you're on, you have to think about this because you're just a lowly citizen taxpayer, and your debt right now is at about $20 trillion nationally. That's a lot of money for you and every person in your family. That's a lot of money, okay? So Democrats see they're losing power. One of their top spots just lost it. Comey's out. Bye-bye. And Trump is heading on his trip out of the country. So they know he's going on his first trip out of the country to deal with some heads of state and other things, and some world peace issues that we need to kind of resolve. They know their time is precious. They know it. It's echoing in their minds, and they just can't stand it. And their efforts, they see it as they need to deal with this now. Okay? And also, there's a new sheriff in town. And I'm not sure if you got the ding-ding on this one. Sheriff Clark from Milwaukee, all right? I met him a couple of times, actually, when I went back east to D.C., and I ran into him in the airport on the way home. It was hilarious. He's just a good man. In any case, Milwaukee County Sheriff David A. Clark, Jr., said Wednesday that he would leave office next month to accept a federal appointment as Assistant Secretary in the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Okay, not everybody likes him, but I love him. He speaks out for the blue. He's looking out for the people. And he's called the People's Sheriff. And I think rightfully so. He just calls it how it is. He says what's going on, and he does it from a perspective of reality and what's really going on, what he really sees. Dynamic man. Really upstanding American. Anyway, the Democrats see the powers are shifting. And Democrats see that their game is being found out. Period. End of story. What did they do with Obama when they had an issue? Okay? When Obama was in office. They would distract and detract. Media too. Now, Democrats and media are basically going after Trump. Why? They want, and this is what I see, They want as much pressure on him as possible. Why? I see two things. One, if the focus is on Trump, we won't be paying attention to their battles in the Senate on health care reform, the repeal and replace. We won't be focusing on the real issue, what's been going on in the FBI and the DOJ for the last 8 years. The focus is outward of the FBI calling on Trump for answers, not the other way around, folks. That's what it comes down to. And I'm going to repeat that. What has been going on in the FBI and the DOJ for the last 8 years won't be dealt with, because the focus would be facing outward of the FBI, calling on Trump for answers, not the other way around. Trump putting pressure and ousting others inside who are against America and her interests would only be viewed by media right now as being a way that Trump can hide what he did with Russia. And we've seen that talked about a couple of different times. I mean, how can Trump investigate those who are investigating him or his key people? It's completely strategic, folks. If you can't see it, you're blind. Or you're just not paying attention. Or maybe this doesn't interest you, but you really should pay attention because it's going to impact you eventually in your pocketbook and in your freedoms. So this is just outrageous, folks. Think about it. And what we went over with Hillary 2 days ago, and now developing with this witch hunt and Trump. We're in a spot. Trump needs to call for complete shakedown, and this is how I see it. He needs to call for a complete shakedown of the DOJ and the FBI. All parties looking into weakening U.S. interests right after transition are a threat to our national security. That's how I see it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's pretty simple. Now, who is calling for, and I want you to think about this, who is calling for America first? Who is calling for citizens first? Who is calling to high American, buy American? Who is looking to tighten trade deals and make our opportunities for jobs here grow? Who is looking to and is actually reducing our illegal alien numbers and enforcing immigration? Trump. I'll slow down a minute. Okay, I'll slow down a minute. Who is looking to reduce the size and scope of government and government organizations and the EPA, all of those three-letter acronyms? Trump. Now, who, oh who, oh who, oh who, oh who, oh who, oh who would not want that to happen? Who would not want for government size and scope to be reduced? Who would not want immigration numbers down and the overall taxpayer released from a major burden? Who will not want that? Who wouldn't want that? I can tell you who might not want that. Nearly, not all, but nearly every government employee that is on the potential chopping block, every Gruber consultant or Hillary Clinton who's received monies for different donations and foundations and links to people who they shouldn't be receiving money from or have certain interest and ties, all of the people tied to lobbying and DC who have escaped the recession because they are in the most employed and highest per capita income in the United States during the Great Depression recession of Obama. Okay? That's nearly ever. And I didn't say every single one, but nearly everyone who's in that space. So when you think, just think, who is pushing media? Those feeding the media are basically those who might lose their government meal ticket. Not all of them, but many of them. So yeah, there are a lot of people that are wanting, in secret and very outright, for Trump to fail. Period. End of story on that. Okay? And I want you to really think about that. It's important for you to think about that. It impacts many of us. We can't let that happen. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You have to pull back. Because what does this mean? Anytime you have division like this, like what we are seeing, one, it creates unrest. Two, even bigger than that, it is the weakening of our families, the weakening of our communities and our states and our nation. We have to ensure that those people here in the United States who want to see the fall of a man who is trying to put America and Americans first, citizens first, that they know they are in direct conflict with our republic. These people can disagree all they want. They can march, they can call legislators, they can write, what they're doing in the media, folks, what folks are doing in the thought war across our nation, they are breaking us down from within. It's outright against the all-American values we hold dear. And when you call for the fall of a person, not based on wrongdoing, but on supposed conversation about issues that he's supposed to have had conversations about, you're interfering in his work, you're interfering in his job. And all of those he's trying to help. Look, media has stepped the line from reporting to becoming judge, jury, and executioner. That simple. And so here we are. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it right out. This is what Trump should do. And this is just me and what I'm thinking and what I've been observing and with Obama over a period of time and then watching this shindig go on right now. He needs to surround himself with good people, solid people he can trust, and do his job. Make the conversation by action and completion of the restoration of the republic. He shouldn't blink, he shouldn't swallow, he shouldn't do anything, he just needs to keep going. Trump ought to gut, and this is my opinion, and it's just my opinion. But from what I've seen, the corruption runs deep. He should gut the FBI, he should gut the DOJ, the military should be looked at from the top down, from those who have seen demotions and careers slashed. We need to know who, what, when, where, and why, and get rid of those in our government positions who are weak links and weakening the United States of America. Because that's what we are. We're the United States of America. United we stand. United people. Okay, it doesn't matter if I'm in California and you're in Texas. We need to stand together. We need to support this great nation. We are either for the Republic or against her. Now, what does that mean? Do you want her weakened? Do you want to see her go through really bad trials and tribulations when those are absolutely avoidable? We could just get the job done. You're a weak link. Those who are undermining the refining process and efficiency drive that this administration wants to do, find better deals for us, the taxpayer, those who are in support of letting illegals stay and letting those who are poor moral character remain in powers of position. Call for their investigation. If they're in positions of power, they need to be looked at. If they're looking at weakening the link between, what we need to get done and strengthening our country, and they're causing trouble. They're troublemakers. They need to be looked at. Now, what I'm saying is to Trump, really, and to all good and God-fearing or good Americans right now, okay? I just want to say this. If there's to be a witch hunt, let there be one. But the smoking gun, it's not Comey's memos in the way you might think. It's the methods by which his entire this entire last administration has operated. And once we know who orchestrated this and identify the key players and what their objective is and was, we can nail them. Because to me, it's clear from my perspective, and literally dozens of people that I know and I've actually spoken to in person, okay, over the last few days even, that the smoking gun from the Hillary investigation was thrown out the car window by the same people meant to find it. And those people probably may be at the DOJ and in the FBI. And these are, of course, all speculations, but you need to really think about this. I mean, it really reminds me of the McCarthy investigations of old, where they locked up his files for 50 years. Why do you lock up files for 50 years? Because you found something, that's why. Yeah. Hillary, they couldn't find anything to nail her down. All I wonder why, because the people who were in power, they threw the smoking gun out the window. But, that I have to leave that to the professionals to figure this out. But look, media, your big daddy government, they're obviously on a mission here. Rather than being a sheep, you should ask yourself one question. No matter what side you are on, you should ask the question, why? You should ask yourself another question. And you should ask it right now. How has your life changed since Trump came into office? This last month, how has your life changed? Because, for better and for worse, please tell yourself why. How has it gotten better and how has it gotten worse? Because what has you so on fire to get this guy out? Or what has you so on fire to keep him in? And why do you see it that way? And I also want you to ask yourself one more thing. How much has the media played a role in your views? Because no matter what side you are on, media, they're the ones feeding the beast. They're the ones quoting anonymous sources and pushing the spin. How much of your views are from clips of media, not watching the whole speech or reading a transcript? And I know many of you don't have time for that. But really, look, what I'm calling for are for citizens, all citizens, responsible tax-paying citizens, concerned citizens who think they have a perspective on all of this, to not just take the sound bites. You need to think and think and think for yourself on this. And it's vital. Otherwise, you're just contributing to the problem. Because what it comes down to is this: you and your town and your home and your community and your state. Nearly half of voters voted Trump in, okay? And here in Cali, it was 1 in 3, depending on where you live. Could be higher, could be lower. Now, we have Trump in. And we're cleaning up D.C., and we're looking to shake things up on our trade, and we're looking to find real solutions and take action. Action, action, action. What can you do to help, no matter what side you're on? Because when you look at your neighbor, he may have voted for restoration of the republic, or he may not have. But many Americans, nearly half of voters, supported this approach in November. Now we need to see it out. So what is your contribution going to be? Is it going to be to fight it every step of the way and feed the propaganda machine? Or is it going to actually be for truth and discovery for, Trump to be found out whether or not he had improprieties or not, Comey to be dealt with in whatever way he needed to, clean up D.C.? All right, Congress approval rating is crap right now. It's down in the dumps. It has been for a long time. And that says a lot to me. That says that not everybody is happy with what they're doing. And that's both sides of the aisle. So if that's the issue, then why are you so heck bent on him, Trump, and others wanting to fix legislation, fix some issues that have been driving up costs, driving up prices? What's the problem? Be a part of the solution, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And Trump, he just needs to, like I also said earlier, he needs to focus on cleaning up D.C. and ushering in stability in the areas of our national security and our economy. That means healthcare, border, world relations, which, speaking of which, he is on his way out of the country to do just that. And hopefully he does a great job. All right, but as we look at the Comey firing and we hear calls for impeachment of Trump, it's outrageous. We need to look at this with a level head. Doesn't matter what side you're on, and I'm going to say that 1,000 times over the next year. You have to look at it with a level head. Because the media that is addressing and amplifying the drive for impeachment needs to be held to standard, for God's sake. Recall how many people marched to get Obama out. Recall after Benghazi. Recall a Marine in Mexico who took a wrong turn and couldn't be returned to us for months. Recall trading several commanders, for Al-Qaeda and all of that, in exchange for a deserter, Bergdahl, okay? After that, oh my God, now this blows my mind. Remember handing cash to Iran? Cash in numbers that are just beyond. There are so many things to list. The standard is that media was not calling for heads then. Why are they now? Why are they now? So I really would like for everyone to really kind of take a step back and think about that. Think about how you've approached all of these things on the TV and in the newspaper, in your conversations with one another, how you maybe have dealt with somebody else and their perspective, and being more sensitive to what might be going on that we can't see, and maybe perhaps that we're all being manipulated in some way or another. That we just need to be patient and make calls and write letters and do what we can. But let's keep our heads about us. Because feeding the media, feeding that beast is not going to help. It hasn't helped. We've just seen it escalate things. And that's not good for anyone. That's not good for the nation. That's not good for our families. What's happening at the dinner table when people are talking about conversations in front of children. It's just, we need a better, more positive approach. We need to look for restoration. We need to look for solutions. And we need to be a part of that process. Okay? And I feel very, very strong about that. It's not enough to just complain about it or say, yeah, that guy needs to go. He wants the EPA to go away. Solar is good, okay? No. Think about that. Solar is actually dirty. It's built in third world nations. And we could go on and on and on and on and on. It's cost us a lot of money in terms of rebates and taxpayer subsidies and all sorts of cuckoo things. But you have to look at all of these issues and you have to think, okay, there is a bigger picture. What really matters to me and what matters to my family, and approach it from that direction. So now I want to kind of move on. I'm going to go ahead and shift gears here. I think we've talked enough about Comey. I think after time, all of the details will come out, and we won't have much to worry about. In terms of things getting handled, Trump is going to take everything by the reins. The horse by the reins. He's just going to steer this thing and make things happen. So I have confidence in that. Okay, so we just need to sit and wait a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to shift, and we're going to move on to our segment by the numbers. And this is where I like to look at kind of immigration, because it's been a hot topic and tick issue. And the queen of politics. I'm really kind of like, the politics part of it is important to me, but the people part of it is what really matters and is important. And in the case of the border, it's the people on both sides, all right, that are suffering, just in many different ways. And so, while the numbers were really great on border reports and enforcement, I think I reported this the other day, and we saw an upward trend in areas that we maybe didn't want to see. Okay, we saw improvement in the numbers coming in. That was great, but we're seeing an upward trend in something else, which is not good. And the trend is regarding our officers. So the title of this article, which I'm going to read because I think it has valuable information, is called Assaults on Border Patrol Agents up 120%. And I did look at this, and I weighed it against other reports. And I found the information valuable because what happens when people realize they're not going to get their way, they throw a fit. We've seen that in D.C., we've seen that with politicians, we've seen that with our 2-year-olds, okay? Or our friends, maybe, I don't know, off and on, immature people. But this is serious stuff, okay? In the case of people risking lives and lives, so really, to come here, to break the law and come to our great nation in the back door. Trust me when I say they probably have no problem risking even more of their life, putting it all on the line even further to get here. I mean, they have nothing to lose. And this is being shown in the way of violence towards our Border Patrol agents, okay? And I have a big heart for law enforcement, you know, be it police, even military, but first responders even, firefighters, all those people who put their lives on the line. They step out and run in when people are running away, okay? They're doing good work, putting their lives on the line, oftentimes having family at home, hoping they just get to see their loved one again. And these other people who are coming here illegally through the back door, they may be running from something or putting their lives at risk to come here for what they think might be a better life. And in many cases, with these children that come here, they may be put at risk even further in situations that are really, really difficult, sex trafficking and other things. But in any case, what we have are these people who come here, and they have nothing to lose. All right? And here's the report from Breitbart. Assaults on U.S. Border Patrol agents continue to increase. The rate rose by 120% over the same time period when comparing fiscal year 2017 to 2016. The number of Border Patrol agents attacked since October 1 increased from 241 during the first 7 months of fiscal year 2016 to 529 this year. Since the last report that ended on March 31st, 67 agents came under attack. Notice they say came under attack. So, by comparison, only 36 officers working Customs and Borders Protection Air and Marine Operations and Office of Field Operations were assaulted. Border Patrol agents are the most assaulted law enforcement officers in the federal government. Former Border Patrol Chief Mark Morgan testified before the Senate Homeland Security Committee in November. Since his testimony, the numbers have skyrocketed. Now, agents frequently conveyed to Breitbart, Texas, their frustration over the lack of prosecution in cases of assault. Frequently, matters are not pursued unless an agent requires hospital treatment, they expressed. Now, to combat rising assaults, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced a plan to increase the number of prosecutions. In a memo dated April 11th, Sessions directed prosecutors to push for charges against anyone who assaults, resists, or impedes agents engaging in the performance of their official duties, Breitbart, Texas reported. Illegal immigrants became increasingly aggressive in the months following the election of President Donald Trump and his implementation of executive orders on border enforcement. Quote, apprehension levels began to decrease as law, police, policy, and strategies aligned. Unfortunately, we are now seeing an increase in assaults against our agents, Chief Patrol Agent Manuel Padilla Jr. said in a written statement in March. Attacks against agents will not be tolerated, and we will work to pursue prosecution against violators. I have some views on that, but I'll continue on. Earlier this week, federal prosecutors in Southern California won a conviction against previously deported illegal alien, I'm inserting the illegal, who injured Border Patrol agent by throwing a, quote, softball-sized rock, striking the agent in the face. He had been deported only 2 months earlier following his completion of a prison sentence for smuggling illegal aliens. So he was coyote. The Mexican national, 39, reportedly has a long history of violence toward law enforcement and disregarded for human safety. His previous actions to evade arrest, including recklessness, wrong-way driving on freeways, making threats and brandishing weapons, assaulting officers, and resisting arrest. He is also known to carry firearms when engaged in human smuggling. Human smuggling. It's so sad. Quote, the conditions are treacherous in some sections of the border, and our courageous agents put their lives on the line every day to protect our country. Acting U.S. Attorney Alana W. Robinson said in a written statement. This verdict tells us that the safety of our agents is paramount importance, and attacks on our agents will come at a high price. Now he faces up to 20 years in federal prison on the assault charge. Okay. End of the report. I need to remind you, okay, and maybe I don't need to remind you, but as these people become more desperate to come here, it becomes more necessary for us to make sure to send the right message to their country. Now, if they come here only to get apprehended and get food and shelter and medical care in our prison with TV, is that so much worse off than they already were? And that may seem a little bit stark, but we have to think about how we approach this. I think the better idea would be to send a message, make sure you deport as many people as you can, send a message that we aren't accepting any more people unless you come in the front door. And I think the message has to be loud and clear. They need to know that they can't get through, and if they do, they're going back. Mexico, being a gateway drug from other countries through their nation, letting people through their nation to us, needs to be held responsible as well. Because there are children coming through there as well. I mean, children who are subjected to human trafficking issues and sex trafficking and all of these different things. We have to be cognizant of that, right? And so there's so much to get done, I mean, in terms of dealing with the border and dealing with those issues and living on a border state. I see kind of the impact in the communities, and I hear from parents and their children in schools and other things. And we all need to play a part. And the more we can mitigate and kind of stop people from coming here, the better off we'll be. Really. The better off they'll be. Because if they're there in their home nation and they know they have to stay there, hopefully they'll work to better their nation. Hopefully they'll work to better their own communities. Because I'm going to tell you folks, and I'm going to say this really kind of loud and clear right now, and really quickly. Do you have a front door? Do you have windows? And I've said this 1,000 times on social media. Do you have windows? Do you keep your front door open all the time? Do you keep your windows open all the time? Do you lock your doors? Do you lock your windows? Okay? If you want to come to my house, please come to my front door. if you come to my house and you come through a window, or you try coming through a window, or you try breaking into my window, or what have you, you might have a really bad surprise. Okay? Now, if you come to my house and you knock on my door, the front door, and you're polite, and you do things the right way, and you approach my home with respect that you would hope that I would approach your home with, which would be respect, and follow the rules, follow the processes, maybe I'll let you into my home, just like you might let me into yours. But there's a way we do things, and it's for a reason. It creates security. This could be a whole topic in itself, but it's so important that people really look at that. Anyway, there's so much to be done, and we have to all, for the sake of lives, risking to come here, and those fighting to keep our nation free from those who will not obey laws and aren't obeying laws, please continue to press your local and national representatives to enforce the laws and fund multiple initiatives. We need to ensure we're dealing with the border issues that affect us all nationally, just not at the border. Okay, it's just not a border issue. And countries need to be involved. Okay? In addition, if you feel led, please encourage that Congress fully fund a comprehensive wall or wall-type barrier that's going to protect all Americans, including Mexicans and other South American people. Humans as well as children. I mean, people are being trafficked into the U.S., so this is a long-term issue. We're wrapping up here, so, this goes really quick, and it got kind of deep, but we have our work cut out for us, Patriots, but I know no matter what side you're on, we can do this, but we just have to work together, all right? And as I'm going to always do, I'm going to give you the info and resources you need in the show. It's in the chat, and then also right now I'm going to give you the contact phone number for Congress. Are you ready? The number for Congress is 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. You can also go online to house.gov or senate.gov to look up relevant information in your congresspersons. You can also look up other resources on my website, which I have, aaroncruz.com, or send emails and inquiries, info@aaroncruz.com. I also already put out the references in the chat for you, so go ahead and look for that. And I also want to mention real quick, I know we're at the end of the show, in the interest of everyone local and national, if you ever want us to cover something for you, or if you have a tip for us, please reach out. We're here for you. Me, the Queen of Politics, will do what I can to help get you the message of truth. United we stand, right? So thanks for joining me, Aaron Cruz, on the Queen of Politics and the Aaron Cruz Show. Join me again next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for Political Core on Second City Radio, California, where we will get to the core of the issues that matter to you with information you can use and trust to make positive change in your community, in your state, and in your nation. Have a blessed evening, all. God bless you, and God bless America.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Queen of Politics and the Aaron Cruz Show, visit us online at aaroncruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.